mayabang isipan. Go palakas, malinis na paligid, mabuting kalooban. Go palakas, hangad na maglingkod sa kapwa't kaibigan. Go palakas, alagaan natin si inang kalikasan. Halika na totoo sa kalikasan at kapwa-tao. Isa buhay natin ito. Go palakas, go palakas. Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan. Go palakas.
A pleasant morning. sa
Good
inyo lahat.
morning.
Good
Yes.
morning.
Ay.
Nandito tayo ulit.
Oo.
See
Summer
everyone.
is coming.
Yes.
It's here, I think.
We can feel it.
To all our viewers and listeners, magandang umaga po sa inyo
Uy,
lahat.
ang dami na natin
Pleasant
kasama.
morning. So early and we know Saturdays are always very important for everybody and the families.
Yeah, thank you
things,
for spending this time with us.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that our time together and what we can share with you will be worthwhile.
Mm-mm.
We still continue on the discussion on loving relationships,
The way.
the way to it.
The way to it. Oo.
We're always, in the truth, when we analyze where is our home, diba? Dito sa mundo na to, we try to make this place as our home. But yet we find that we are all experiencing the transitory dynamics of living in this world. And then in the beginning, you feel your permanency and you see some type of way to make sure that view of permanency takes place in your life. And you come to a state of sometimes you forget.
That hindi pala
Hindi pala
permanent
ganon.
dito.
So from relationships to your jobs to your family, you dig in there to make sure you try to find those lasting relationships that revolves around your social interaction with everybody and also the environment you live in. Diba? That's why many times this inspires us. Di ba nagiging yun ang inspiration mo?
Oo.
Di ba? To
Oo.
do things.
Motivation.
And inspiration mo, your motives. May ganun yan eh. So, but many times though, we faced struggles on trying to maintain such relationships. Trying to find such relationships in a temporary world is one of the most difficult things that
Lalo na
anybody
ngayon, no?
will
Lalo
encounter.
na ngayon, may COVID pa naman na hiwa-hiwalay tayo.
So when we speak about love, di ba, we always connect that to something that's most valuable to us.
Yeah.
Of course, it is the
Important.
most valuable to us. So,
And many of us, home is valuable.
Mm-mm.
yes. Kasi
Family is valuable.
Mm-mm.
But children,
home is where our loved ones are. That's
Yeah,
where
kasi
our
nandyan
love
eh.
is. So,
then some of us would love our jobs, di ba? Because that gives you a feeling of security, Diba?
Yes.
Anyway,
yes.
before we go on, let's greet our early listeners.
Magaganda ang greetings nila ngayong umaga.
Kalindi Rilova, good morning.
And from Cesar. No, sabi pa niya, thank you very much for the
Oh, it's
spiritual
Cesar and
association.
Delhi,
Cesar and Delhi from Alameda, California. Yes.
Then we have Gemini Rose. Rose is based in Iloilo, you know.
Yeah, nice to
Very
hear from
nice.
you, Rose.
And-
Siyempre, itong young fan natin si Har Har, di ba?
Sabi pa niya, first time, on time po
Yeah.
ako.
Very good. Then,
Momentous.
then Rosalinda Lascano. Oh, you read that?
Japanese Ohio gozaimasu. I'm
From
not sure.
Okinawa.
From
Okinawa.
Okinawa.
Must
yeah.
be hi, everyone.
Good morning,
May hi
siguro.
Baka yan yung love greetings doon kasi may heart sa dulo eh.
Oo nga.
Tapos
Oo.
may, siyempre, the respect.
Please, translate. Baka kung ano-ano na yung naisip natin. Teach us a little Japanese.
Ah.
So anyway, so, continuing with the subject matter, because simply when we say that our love is where our home is, actually you introspect on it. What is our home? Where is our true home?
Oo nga.
Where's our real home?
Ang ano naman talaga natin, kasi being an eternal being, we are naturally seeking something permanent because
Oo.
we're eternal. So you look for something permanent also. Then
Oo.
you also look.
Seek something that's permanent, then another P. Perfect.
All right.
Mm.
Oo, we look for perfection,
Mm-mm.
di ba? So sabihin natin a natural thing.
Yes.
Na it's
definitely.
inherent in us. Pero
Yeah.
kasi sinasabi niyo ba, ay nako, wala kang mahahanap na perfection sa
Oo.
buhay, hindi ba? O wala
Well,
nga
not
nang
in this
ganyan.
world, probably, yeah.
So basically, they just try to settle for something less.
Yes.
Kumbaga, sige na, compromise, ito na lang. Hanggang dito na lang, ang ganyan lang talaga ang pagmamahal
Oo.
So,
Pero
parang,
another P also, personal. Sometimes people try to put their love on things.
oo.
It's not quite the
Kaya
same,
pet
is
na
it?
lang.
Oh.
Kasi another P. Si ano na
may
lang.
person in the pet body.
Pet na
Oo.
lang ang ang mamahalin, hindi
Mhm.
ba? Pero syempre, even when you relate to a pet, ganun din yung sama ng loob at saka yung sakit ng puso pag
Oo,
namamatay,
oo
hindi
nga,
ba? Pag
And there has to be,
nagkakasakit, ganun
and
din eh.
again,
Oo.
because it involves another
Person.
living entity,
Mm-mm.
person.
Mm.
There has
Iba
to
nga
be
lang ang body, medyo furry.
Oo.
caring at saka may pangit.
Or
Hindi ba?
feathery.
Oo.
Depending.
Saka, siyempre,
Pero sabi siguro nila kasi mas madali kasi hindi nakikipag-argue sa
Oo nga.
hindi ba? But that's the challenge kasi of a relationship, hindi ba? You have to live with another person and there are struggles involved and this person has another will separate from you, hindi ba? Kaiba.
Hindi lang siya yes, dear. No, yes, dear.
Meron siyang certain ideas na
Oo.
gusto rin niyang gawin, i-implement, okay?
kasi it has to do with, at the end of the day, how one understands his true nature, a spirit, not just a temporary human form.
Mm-mm.
When you have this, and this understanding just doesn't come as a belief. It is a reality.
Mm-mm.
And it's guided. It's not like speculative. It is true. It's the truth.
Mm-mm.
So many times when we live our life, when we are disconnected to the truth and the reality of our true existence, then we start to seek this type of relationship that is temporary, but we are eternal by
Yeah.
nature, then it won't correspond.
Oo.
It will not bring that happiness
Harmony,
and
walang
harmony that we're
Hindi siya
pursuing.
fit, hindi siya
Yeah.
compatible sa
Mm-mm.
nature natin.
Yeah, and it
Oo.
doesn't work well.
Mm-mm.
Then at the end of the day, you go through life, you can remember things, you can remember experiences, and if you take account of most of what you have done, you will find and analyze it. Many times you will live, especially in life where things didn't work out for you. May mga ganun eh,
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it
Kasi
wasn't
you're trying-
according to your plan.
right? You're trying to pursue something that then it doesn't work out,
Mhm.
or it doesn't, kumbaga may goal ka. Kahit na it works out, but it didn't gel or it kind of didn't work out with the goal that you were expecting.
Mm-mm.
So you have to make do with what's there.
Yeah. Oo.
But there is such, a perfect love.
Yes.
This is present in our hearts. This is the gift that we have received in a situation where we as human beings, the human body is a temporary body, but yet it has its values. Ito yon, where when you go to relationships, you can seek the highest of all relationships.
Mm-mm.
And that relationship is not just based on a temporary relationship, but based on an internal relationship.
Oo, on the reality of our identity as being spiritual sparks of God. Diba?
Mm,
All
oo.
relationships with others has to be based on that understanding. Now we're all related to each other. We're all spiritual
Mm.
beings. So, and
But-
when we have that understanding and that basis for our relationship, then it can be eternal kasi soul to soul na siya.
Oo.
Instead of just relating to someone kasi he looks good or, something material like that.
Is intelligent.
Certain
Mm-mm.
qualifications or
Yeah.
qualities are there.
Oo.
That's what attracts people. Eh. Oh, I like to marry
Yung
somebody who's like
packaging yung
this.
ating
Mm.
nasisilaw tayo sa packaging.
Instead of going,
Oo.
okay, katulad ng packaging, di ba?
Mm-mm.
Di ba napapalitan mo mga packaging?
Oo nga. Pwede.
But the spirit,
Naluluma
but
din
the
yung
spirit
packaging.
doesn't change.
Oo.
You, the spirit,
Oo.
yeah.
That's really what shines through.
Yeah,
That's the
and then yung
real,
kahit napakaganda ng
relationship.
package, o tingnan nyo, kapag meron kayong magandang package,
Ah.
wala naman yung spirit doon. Ano mangyayari?
Wala.
Mabubulok yung packaging.
Yeah.
Hindi lang yun, kundi, huh?
You're not attracted to it.
You're not
You're
attracted
to it.
That's the
like,
point.
Oo.
Yeah, it's like, oops.
Nakakatakot pa nga.
You know, hindi ba, katulad dito, unfortunately, recently, it's not a nice story to share, but we had a guest here in San Juan, just
Not our
a few
personal
meters,
guest,
100
but-
meters up, no?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nalunod siya, di ba?
Mm.
Siyempre, you will find that
On a day without waves.
yeah, the day without waves, everybody's really into, siyempre, they'll try to save, they bring importance, di ba?
Mm-mm.
Kasi no matter what, kahit hindi mo kilala yan, pag nakita mo yung tao na in such a situation,
Mm-mm.
natural ka magre-respond
Oo.
sa ganon. Eh, what drives you to do that?
Because we value the life
Exactly.
of a person.
And the value.
Mm-mm.
To the point where you risk your own life.
Yes.
Oo.
Mm-mm.
So that goes to the next level. See, this is the gift that we have been given as human.
Mm-mm.
Those in the human form of life, we have that ability. And it's that caring nature that's in our heart. But sometimes we don't, kumbaga nagkukulang tayo sa maraming bagay and how that potential is to be used. You know? So, when it's natural for you to do something when you see somebody in trouble, right? To respond
Kahit
to
nga
it.
pawikan, di ba?
Right.
We help them.
We have to
Lalo
do
na yung
things.
mga tao. Oo.
Right? Di ba?
Oo.
And to the point that we try to make it, we exert effort to make things safe, to make, may mga ganun yan eh. Kasi that's part of the caring nature that the person has. And that's born. The very root of that is love.
Mm-mm. Concern, care.
Care.
Compassion.
Mm-mm.
So let's greet more of our listeners. Cynthia Omerga, okay, from Quezon.
Oh, and Vina.
And Vina from
Pascua.
Baguio. Carmen Padriga, again.
Maayong buntag, sabi
Yeah.
niya sa atin. Oo,
And
from
then
Cebu.
Yeah, then again, from Cebu, Adelila Dasis. Yeah.
Oh, maayong buntag din. Ang
Then
ganda.
si Har Har, pangit din po kasi tatanda, haha. Yan, yung binanggit
So
siya.
when we're talking about the
Packaging,
packaging.
yes. And from Aklan. Good
Rosita
morning.
Benedicto,
Oo,
good
si
morning. Okay,
Rosita
greetings from
Benedicto.
Aklan.
Yes.
Okay, again,
Thank you.
for listening in and giving us support on this, okay? And if you want to send comments, please.
Yeah,
you
don't
know,
forget, we're open to your
You're all part of the
contributions,
discussion here,
yeah,
you know?
into our discussion.
Okay, so, many times, because we have a finer pursuit of our potential in life is like, we can go seek the highest level of pleasure. And that is always, the basis of that is loving relationships.
Mm-mm.
And we can go to that very highest level.
Mm-mm.
But that level is available to us, but not in this condition of temporariness. We are spirit. We are eternal beings. Diba? So it's natural for us to be able to, we won't be satisfied with something that is temporary.
Mm-mm.
That's
So,
not going to work for us.
Alright. Kasi syempre, mga ano yan eh, kumbaga sa level ng material dealings, no, hindi talaga yung tatama yan mag-aakma, mag-fit sa spiritual needs natin. No? So, however, we can say here that we have to connect specifically with the source of all of this
Yes.
love, because okay, we want to love others, pero where is that love gonna come from, Parang mukhang feeling mo, paano mo mamahalin yung mga nasa paligid mo, hindi ba?
Kasi,
So how do we grow this love for God?
Yes.
kasi our tendency is that when we seek such relationship is we're looking for something that will satisfy us.
The problem is when you direct it towards an imperfect person who is not having love himself, kumbaga like an empty cup, tapos hanapin mo sa kanya, magpapasatisfy ka sa kanya, edi kulang, hindi ba? So,
Yeah.
you meet
Parang
up with
empty cup and empty cup. Wala.
Mm-mm.
Lahat empty.
empty.
Yeah.
Kailangan
Wala,
yung
hindi na
full.
puno, oo.
Full cup. Full of
Yes.
love.
And this becomes sometimes a pursuit of our life with we try to fill in the emptiness in our heart.
Oh, yes.
See,
Try to
that-
love somebody else other than God, but we end up getting unhappy, angry,
Frustrated.
jealous,
Oo,
lahat
hindi
na
ba?
ng mga hindi
Frustrated.
magandang
Or we're not
resulta.
or you know what it is, and the end result, how you anticipate things. Maybe you work on it, you
You mean
build
like
on
our
it.
great expectations.
Yeah, meron
Yes.
tayong ganyan na hinahanap now. Suddenly, oops, it didn't work out.
Siya yung magiging best friend ko, hindi ako iiwanan. Sabi niya, pangako niya, hindi niya ako
He will love me
iiwanan.
forever after.
He will protect me, talagang ang daming promises no? Which are sometimes, okay, we want to make somebody happy, we
Or
make
there's things
promises,
sometimes,
pero
syempre,
hindi
Wag naman
kaya.
false
Meron
promises.
naman, you're supposed to be helping serve me.
Mm.
I'm the person who's working so hard. And
Ayun
then,
na nga nangyayari minsan. You say you love someone, but really you are having a relationship with that person, trying to get something from that person to satisfy me, myself. Di ba?
No, you pose as the person to be loved and
Mm-mm.
the attention should be on you, hindi
Yes.
ba? Parang
Oo.
nagiging ikaw yung nagiging center. You want to be the center of that other person's
Yes.
life.
Yes. Unfortunately, the other person probably has exactly the same
Pursuit.
mindset as
Oo
well.
nga. Oo, meron din demand yung
Oo.
isang person. Hindi ako yung sentro.
Oo.
Hindi ba? O
Kaya
tapos
nagkakagulo.
din pa ng mga little bulilit, sila rin gusto
Oo,
nila
oo
maging
nga.
sentro, hindi ba?
Pilahan na.
Demanding attention from
Diba,
each
nakikita
other.
natin yan pag ito na si panganay. Ano, mama will have another baby.
Ay,
Why? I'm
Oo,
here.
oo, away,
I'm so
di ba?
cute. Look at
Oo.
me.
Talagang
Ay,
agawan
nako,
ng
magkakagulo
attention.
na.
that's why very early one has to understand and that we have guidance to this.
Mm-mm.
You see, for us, we have the ability to understand what is the truth.
Mm,
Not only that, but we can live the truth.
mm,
We can apply it in our lives.
Mm-mm.
It's not just merely, for us to learn and read, but never apply.
mm.
So, just as most relationships that we have in this world, temporary as it may be, you can still very much experience an exchange of loving relationship when that relationship has a higher goal and purpose.
Yes.
Okay.
Oo.
That's the only time when, because you could see that I can build on this person's relationship or each other's relationship because there is a higher direction.
Mm,
There's a higher meaning to such relationship. So, because it's natural for us to care for one another.
mm.
So you have to put that in context. Both of you. It's not just when you talk about relationship. Dalawa yan, tatlo, o apat, o marami yan. Minsan, if you're head of the company or corporation,
Oh, ang dami
You know?
nun.
Oo, lahat yan. Ano,
and
alagaan
if you're the
mo.
leader, you will have to look in the situation where, how deep is my commitment to most of you?
Mm-mm.
Is it just merely the job that you're servicing
Oo,
and
or
to
your
set-
function,
or your
no,
function
in
and
the
you
company.
contribute? Or you relate as a person?
Oo.
Mm.
Oo.
You relate to the person and there's that the caring component to it. Even if the job is not there anymore because something may have happened, may nangyari, but because you care for that person, what will that person value more? When that person is touched by your caring, it's obvious, no matter what, such person would try to stick around where you
Oo,
are.
Kasi nakikita
Or
rin yan.
will
Ngayon,
remember
oo.
that experience and you change that person's view of things.
Mm.
Kasi you touch the person eh. He can be your trabajador or your
Or your
trabajante or
students, yung mga maging
students.
estudyante mo, hindi ba? Yung mga, hindi lang limited ang love sa pamilya or whatever. It's very, very
Neighbors as
expansive.
well.
Oo. Hindi ba? Okay, so meron pang mga humahabol ng greetings sa atin si Rina May and from the Mainigo tribe. And Jen
Good morning.
Siba and also Angel Gonzalo. And
Vida.
yan, si Mila Celeste. Magandang araw para sa ating mga kaibigan ng Go Palakas. Lalong pinaganda ng mga paksang pinag-uusapan. Pag-ibig na tumama sa ating lahat. Oh, wow po.
Salamat.
Very nice. Yes. Actually, it's very nice to talk about love because it's a very positive thing in our
Yeah.
lives. And we all experience these things that go through our hearts and minds and everything. So it's nice to talk about it in a positive way, in a happy way. Kasi pag teleserye ang papanoorin mo, iiyak ka pag
Sobrang drama.
yung it also presents a lot of misconceptions,
Yes,
hindi
true.
ba? Like it's always intensely related to each other.
Yeah,
Hindi
puro
ba yung
intriga.
bida at saka yung girl and
Oo.
boys, yun ang pinaka-center ng story.
Oo.
You know, so what we're trying to explain today is yung may center ang relationship which is not tayo-tayo lang o hindi merong sentro, yung supreme friend, yung supreme lover na yung source ng love natin.
Yeah, so we
This is-
learn to spiritualize our relationships
Yeah.
with
And this is when
each other.
God, the commandments are there, di ba? Love God with all your heart.
Number
mind,
one, di
number
ba?
one.
Oo.
And then the next comes, okay, you care for one another.
Yeah.
Di ba? Because the same way God loves you, it's natural for us if we're experiencing that love of God in our hearts. It's normal for us to be able to be loving others. It's not something that you fake.
Oo.
Real compassion comes from there.
Oo.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
first things
And
first,
it
di ba?
grows.
Oo.
And it's not something that is, like in the world, sabi nga ni Har kanina pag tumatanda, pumapangit. Hindi ba yung ganon? But yun ang nature ng sa mundo natin. Ngunit, but when one is relating to everybody and the foundation of that is based, it's coming from your heart, that relationship that you have deep in your heart with the supreme person, the main personality that you need to serve and love, will also continue to grow. Kasi God becomes pleased with your actions there.
Yeah, oo.
And when there's that, it's just like hindi ba, in our relationships in this world, we try to please one another, hindi ba? May ganun. A child will try to please a parent. And the parent also reciprocates because that's the very essence of relationships.
Yes.
Yes, reciprocation.
Giving, sharing,
Yeah.
So basically, may happiness from that sharing.
Similarly,
Oo.
when you love God, sometimes we kind of, wow, how can we have a personal relationship with God?
Oh, but
How
he
is
does
this possible?
reciprocate.
Di
Oo.
ba? But what is that? The reciprocation is felt by everyone,
Yeah.
and we don't actually need to pursue it because it's already there. It's by nature unconditional.
Actually, if we just are perceptive, the way that
Yun nga.
God shares and cares for us,
Oo.
with all the blessings that He sends our way,
Apaw-apaw.
how He actually tries to help us in our lives, talagang, it's a very wonderful way na talagang very loving yung kanyang ways.
It is.
You
It
need
is.
to turn to him and receive and also reciprocate.
Reciprocate.
In the world we live in right now, there's so many uncertainties taking place, di ba? The difference between the rich and the poor, yung mga ganyan. And whether you're a katutubo or you were educated in good universities, or right now you have problems throughout the world taking place where,
Agawan sa vaccination,
right,
agawan sa
And then-
pwesto.
and then also you have issues on, oh no, we're white, we're the better, and you guys are all minorities. May mga ganyan eh. So there's an issue today.
Inggitan.
Yeah.
And for as long as we stick to this premise that we think we are this body and refuse to see the reality of the truth of our true existence,
Diyan
then such
nagkakaproblema.
uncertainties will continue in our own lives. And it brings about unhappiness and grief to the person who is in that state of consciousness.
Mm-mm.
That's why,
Doon lumalabas yung mga symptom na hindi
Yeah.
maganda. Oo.
that's why even amongst relationships at home, this takes place.
Mm-mm.
Hindi may ganyan yan eh. Things can be discriminatory even amongst relationships between husband and wife.
So dapat mauna yung wisdom, yung pananaw na who I am and who others are. We're all parts and parcels of the supreme lover. So we develop respect for one another.
Ay,
Hindi
naku,
ba?
importante talaga
That
yan.
respect is very important in
Mm-mm.
our dealings and in our loving relationship, no? We don't try to be the boss and dominator of others,
Mm-mm.
and we don't try to control them in a way na tinatanggalan na natin sila ng freedom and a chance to grow also
Mm-mm.
spiritually. Kasi yung iba, yung nga jealousy, may iba nagiging jealous pa sa sa Panginoon. Huwag
Oo
ka,
nga.
hindi ba?
Oo nga,
Meron
may
talagang
ganoon.
ayaw nilang
Dasal ka ng dasal, paano naman ako? Di mo na ako pinapansin.
imagine
May ganun.
that. Oo. So they start kasi nga empty, hindi ba?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
hindi
Kasi
nila
they like want to suck your energy.
That's
Yeah.
why when you have a deeper relationship, then
Mm-mm.
this trying to draw happiness from one another.
Maiiba.
mahirap yun,
Oo,
talagang,
maiiba
Right.
yan.
oo.
No, when you have a
Oo.
deeper relationship, you will not draw relation.
Oo,
Yeah.
oo,
Your
oo.
Hindi na
foundation-
taking, giving
Yeah,
na.
the
Oo.
foundation of your relationship
Mm-mm.
and how you see and look and relate to one another
Mm-mm.
comes from a different perspective.
Oo.
Kasi if you love
It comes from the
someone,
truth.
you
know?
try to help them love God also.
Yes,
Instead of, if you don't love God, then it's like, oh, you love me. Parang you present yourself as God.
Oo.
Ako yung dapat mong mahalin.
Oo.
No?
And so that emptiness, yung na-experience mo, actually, yung emptiness, very deep yan eh.
Oh, yes.
Which if you try to get somebody else to satisfy you, naku, ang hirap kaya nung taong ina-expect mo. I mean, for any person to try and satisfy a person's inner craving,
Yeah.
malalim yun.
Para kang ang volcano na empty. Tapos
Oo.
you're trying to get happiness from someone. Parang isang drop lang yun. Kulang ng
Oo,
kulang.
na
To satisfy you.
You
Mm-mm.
cannot fulfill that role.
Yes.
Okay, meron comments tayo si Rina, very interesting daw, nakaka-relate sila. And from Miguel
Miguel.
Vargas, San Fernando City, La
Hello,
Union.
Pinis.
Sabi naman ni Har, God should be the center of our life. Other things is second best. Live happy and share the blessings to everyone. Love everything, especially love more our enemies because they don't know God. Then we should love them more, especially the racists. Diyos ko, dumadami. Oh. Kasi ano yan eh, yung philosophy ng word our skin color,
yung
yung mga
packaging, they get stuck on the
packaging. Oh, yan
packaging.
yung mga
Parang all the
philosophies
guys
na.
with the blue shirts, magkakampi.
Oo.
Mga
oo.
naka-black, magkakampi.
Oo.
Yung iba.
So it's something that divides people rather than unites people in
Oo,
love.
and it's so shallow.
Oo.
Nasa labas lang yan.
And one has to understand that at the end of the day, even if you come as a group,
Mm-mm.
your life, you will have to live it yourself, and whatever you do with your life comes back.
Individual
Mhm.
responsibility.
Right, because relationship
Oo.
cannot be blamed amongst others.
Mm-mm.
You may
Oo.
have the same sort of parang, we have the same vision of things,
Mm-mm.
Oo,
But
pareho kaming uniforme.
you need to still, each of us are responsible for our own actions.
Correct.
And our own
And it will affect
relationship with
will
God.
affect
our
Oo.
consciousness.
Yes.
You may be coming as a group and you can
Mm.
rah with everybody, but
Mm.
yet you on the end of the day, or
Mm-mm.
like now, yung nangyari sa Amerika, hindi ba? Doon sa kanilang Kapitolyo.
Oo.
You know,
Kagulo-gulo na.
Ngayon, nagkagulo-gulo sila,
Oo.
pero yung nagkaroon ng hulihan, individual yung hinuli,
Takbuhan
hindi
na.
yung group.
Actually,
Ganon yan eh.
yeah.
It's all about what is the role you played. The,
Oo.
the
What
type of
choices do you
consciousness
make?
you have
Mm-mm.
determines the actions you will perform.
Actually, sinasabi, like even amongst between a couple, no?
Mm-mm.
Basically speaking, you can encourage a person na, sige, tayo maging makadiyos, hindi ba, sa pamilya natin. But still, individual decision yon.
Yes.
You cannot make a person pray. You cannot make a person
cannot
turn
force
to God.
because
You
it's a
cannot
choice,
do that
eh.
for them. Hindi
Yeah,
ba?
free. And again, love means there's a freedom of choice, because if there's the choice is not there, it's if you're forced, then it's not love.
Mm-mm.
Di ba? There's no such thing.
So, kahit naman sabihin natin, hindi kayo nagtutugma sa isang relationship kasi yung isa gusto niya maging maka-Diyos, ikaw ayaw mo naman,
Mm-mm.
However, yung isang tao na gustong maging spiritual yung relationship, there's no loss. Kasi
Oh,
meron
yes.
siyang satisfaction, no?
Mm-mm.
And for her to help somebody who doesn't have it,
Mm-mm.
it's also helpful, beneficial for the
Yeah.
other person.
And it's how to
Oo.
reconcile it. Kasi the very
Reconcile, yeah.
foundation of your reconciliation or your relationship is based on a deeper. And you
Yes.
uplift one another. Kaya nga sa
Yun.
relasyon, it's a two-way thing. And you cannot
Oo.
just be a one-way street.
And if you
Yeah.
love each other, you never give up on each other.
Ayun,
Right.
Tulungan kayo
patience,
That is the very
tolerance,
foundation,
di
you
ba?
know?
Talagang
Tulungan
Kasi
lagi.
eventually,
patience.
Hindi yung diyan ka na.
that relationship will end in this world, but but if the relationship is founded based on a spiritual relationship, none of what you pursued together will go to waste. It will bear fruit. This is the beauty of this. If we work on relationships that is based on the truth, then it will bear fruit. And the fruit is a good fruit. It's a proper fruit,
Tsaka every relationship, it's like a work in progress.
Oo. And sometimes you cannot see even the fruits right now, hindi
Yes,
ba?
oo.
And there's
Things
no,
take time.
maybe after pa many years or basically maybe next lifetime or
Oo,
whatever,
patience lang
still
talaga.
nagawa natin kung ano yung magagawa
Yeah,
natin.
plus,
Tsaga.
you know the measure of that? You know how you measure it? Masaya ka sa loob. You're happy. And you feel your eternality. Kasi yung actions that you perform is based on an eternal relationship. It's not just founded based on a temporary material condition.
The symptoms of love, a loving relationship, they're always sweet. Not like lust. Ang symptoms na mapait lang.
Oo.
And it grows, and it grows in your heart, and you always would want to pursue that.
One thing
Kaya nga may kasabihan, hindi ba? You follow your heart.
yes.
But if your heart is kind of
Pero kailangan meron din intelligence.
may
kasali.
intelligence, may talino, may wisdom.
Oo, may
Huwag kayong
wisdom.
basta kung ano sinabi ng
Yan ang
puso niya,
ating
yun ang anuhin natin. Pero yung puso mo naman, siyempre may covering, kumbaga mali yung
Kaya importante nga yung rootedness in God because dun gagaling wisdom
Yes.
natin. Oo.
Very beautiful relationships will spring from that.
yeah, like here,
diba?
there's a comment by Myra. Sabi niya, God-centered relationships are more likely to succeed.
Yun lang talaga magsusucceed.
Actually, that's the only one
Sa
that will
totoo
succeed
lang. Oo.
based on truth. Because when you function based on this relationship,
really.
which God is in the center,
Oo, that's the truth
and
kasi.
then basically you help one another pursue this, and then that's where success of life is.
Kasi yung iba inisip nila, binigyan naman kita ng mga pera, binigyan na kita ng mga bahay or kotse, whatever,
Oo.
damit and everything.
Oo.
Ano pa ba hinahanap mo? Hindi
Yung
ba?
pagmamahal.
Ayun pa. Kaya nga, it's not just material support na
Right.
ibibigay natin sa mga anak
Or even
sa mga...
that's natural to
Oo.
provide on the end of the day. Kasi, but we need to care for one another in different ways, and we have
Oo.
responsibility in family to take care. Yeah, we have to
Yes.
work. This is natural for us to do. This is part of our living a responsible life. But more than that, though, di ba? More than that,
Oo, more. Oo.
is
You know,
when we learn to live our life guided and based by the truth.
You know, I have a picture. It's in my files eh. There's this person, she's all dressed up, you know. Tapos, meron siyang dala na cage. Ang ganda ng cage. Tapos, inside, merong bird siya dati. Bones na lang ng bird ang natira. Oo. So, parang ganun kung you're giving somebody all these things para dun sa cage, yung ganda ng cage. Pero yung person inside, they're starved for love. Eh, yung love ang kailangan eh. Yun ang talagang food.
Okay,
person.
let's greet Sam Miguel.
Yes.
Yeah, good morning.
And
Thank you
Ananda
for watching.
Teves
Ananda
Ngo.
Teves Ngo, good
Yes.
morning again. Then,
Si
and
Har Har,
definitely-
sabi pa niya, more dose of God vaccines.
Oh,
So, yan ang
yeah.
kailangan natin
Diba?
lahat. Pag nandyan, pipila na ako.
Okay.
Right now, medyo wait and see pa
And then
tayo.
from our friend from
Quezon.
Aji,
Si Aji.
gandang umaga po. Ay, nakapaka-timely daw ng topic. Masyado na po self-centered ang kaisipan ng maraming mga tao. Nakakalimutan na yung first and foremost commandment ng ating mahal na Heso Kristo. Ah,
The more we become self-centered, the more we become unhappy.
So
Totoo.
true.
And from Muriel also, God-centered relationships are more likely to scale. Oh, we read that already.
Yes.
No
Okay.
loss. It's always nice to hear.
Yes. So basically speaking, talagang yung makalimutan mo yung first and foremost commandment.
Oh,
Naku,
kaya nga number one
ang
siya.
laking problema
Mm-mm.
pag yan ang na Alzheimer's ka dyan or na senior moment or
Nalimutan.
kinalimutan yan. Para bang
Lost ka
mali
na.
na yung ating puro yung equation mo in life.
Oo.
The formula for success, meron ka ng missing item. Kahit ang dami mong i-compute na numbers, mali na yung solution mo
Oo.
dyan. Ay, walang solution, mali yung answer.
Oo.
You
Kumbaga
know?
sa number, madaming zero, wala yung one
Oo.
sa umpisa.
Walang meaning, hindi
So
ba?
don't forget the number one.
Number one,
Mhm.
yes.
And
So,
then, when there's so many, let's say, when you pursue such deeper relationship for what we are meant to do, right, in our life, and we experience the transitory experiences that we have in this world. We begin to see that, and becomes a realistic situation, because when you start to pursue deeper relationship, the real relationship of loving God, yun nga, we always mention this, it will have a profound effect in your consciousness. And anything that you do, you will have God as your guide. You can hear God from your heart guiding you. And what's this is the most wonderful experience that anybody could have.
Oo, happy
Yeah,
ka, hindi
you're
ka
happy.
worried,
The
kampante
satisfaction.
ka.
And and you recognize that
you're a good
I am
friend.
not the controller. God is the controller. This is what it means when
Hindi
I
tayo
have
nagpapanik.
devotion and surrender and prayer to God. It only means my life is in God's hands.
Kasi kung sa pamilya, hindi ba, kung God is not the center, parang pag may problema, wow, at a loss na everybody.
Yeah.
Kunyari,
Oo.
mawala yung pera, yung bank account, o yung negosyo, parang fall apart. Everything
Oo,
is falling apart.
Everybody spins. Their
Oo,
own way out of
everybody's
control.
spinning
Oo.
talaga.
Then the relationship, you
loss.
could see that whatever you've pursued in a family situation, you could see it's how fragile it can be by just a change of dynamics. And the world is full of this.
Kumbaga na earthquake yung kanilang relationships.
Yeah.
Nasira yung foundation or walang foundation na mabuti.
It's like this. One of our new workers, he worked only for us for 2 months. Actually, I didn't really na-aksidente kasi siya, bulag yung isang mata. And for me to accept somebody to work in such a setting, parang I fear,
Kumbaga may
I'm afraid.
disability kasi
May disability siya
Oo.
kasi pag siya ay nasugatan pa, may kapansanan na, bulag na yung isang mata. But anyway, because of dire need that they need to have
Siyempre gusto
work,
namin makatulong.
makatulong din. But there was something else I just found out recently. The wife ended up, and with the kids leaving, going back to the province, family, and then the husband, whose family is here, where kuya niya yung nagpasok sa akin nagpasok sa kanya sa trabaho. Which for me, I always am hesitant because of the disability, kasi baka nga ma-aksidente pa eh. But anyway, then I found out recently that it really has to do with a family struggle. But while he was with us, you could see that even because the struggle he kept to himself, it's affecting his relationship with even his co-workers.
Kasi may dala siyang mabigat.
May dalang mabigat. See, this is sometimes the most unfortunate things that takes place in our life. When we are not guided by wisdom, we're just guided by emotions in our relationship. And then you start to when things don't work out right, you start to drift away from one another. And then on the end of the day, if you're a husband and wife, and then you have children, such drifting, such experience, how do you teach a child to love one another when you don't
Mahirapan
experience the
tuloy
same
sila in
relationship
their
at
own.
home?
Hindi ka
you know?
pwedeng maging role model.
Right,
Parang
yes.
hindi mo mapakita kung ano yung dapat eh. Di
Oo,
ba?
speaking of role model, sabi ni Miguel Vargas, yes, Jesus should be the center of our lives. It's all about Him. we should be Christ-like.
Yeah.
Christ is a very good role model for what we
Oo.
should be like. Yeah.
Oo,
I mean, siya,
a
he
true
spent his whole
lover,
life loving
and
God.
representative of the supreme
Yes.
friend, hindi ba?
Mm-mm.
So it's very nice that, in our country, maraming tao talaga na somehow merong faith, no? Yung
Yes.
pananampalataya.
Mm-mm.
To carry them through the difficulties, the challenges, is
Oo.
because they believe that there is a God who is actually loving them and who's
Mm-mm.
helping them.
And
Di ba?
Kaya yun ang
if you
matatag
go,
tayo kahit
one thing, what it
bugbog
is,
tayo
kaya
sa-
nga, when we have this form of life as a human being, the human form of life, is the gift of God.
Mm-mm.
Because this is when we can experience, how God loves us unconditionally. Now, you don't have to dig deep, like many of what is being provided to us is not something we did ourselves. We did not provide this for ourselves.
Yeah.
Our form, our intelligence, our ability. These are all.
So we should have an appreciation talaga for what has
Yes.
been, yung blessings that have been given to us. At the
Mm-mm.
same time, we should also be appreciative of what others are sharing with us.
Yes,
Yes.
we're going
And to
through.
communicate this, there's a problem sometimes. We feel tanggap tayo pero hindi tayo marunong mag-communicate. I thank you for your kindness.
Mm-mm.
I appreciate yung ginagawa mo para sa akin.
Oo.
Parang
Doon tayo nagkukulang.
doon nagkukulang.
Mm-mm.
To let other people know that we love them, that we
Yes.
actually care for them.
That we appreciate all the little things they do for us, no?
Tapos
Sometimes
pagdating
big things.
na lang doon sa deathbed at saka doon magre-regret na hindi nag-communicate.
Oo, minsan huli na
Oo.
nga, huli na.
Yes.
Hindi mo na
So it's very
makausap.
important to communicate and to express our gratitude and also express our love to our
And
friends
everything,
and to
everything,
others,
one has
diba?
to understand that on the end of the day, in our lives, how we cultivated our relationship with one another, if that relationship has a spiritual foundation, no matter what takes place, no matter what happens, you have rooted your relationship based on this. You see, as you live the world, people will always remember what that is. And then when you have lived, if you're a parent or a friend, you leave that behind your friendships, di ba? In true relationship, that it's the foundation of that is from your heart, from God loving you, and you're experiencing that love of God. Then you will find that you leave behind a lasting experience to people, because that's what touching people's
Spiritual
lives means.
basis
Oo.
kasi
Oo.
So eternal din siya.
Yeah, it's,
Kaya nga meron akong na-text na tanggap, nagpasalamat yung isang kaibigan ko. Sabi niya, noon pa, matagal na natutulungan siya. Sabi ko, and parang nagka-problema kasi with some kind of loan that she made, hindi niya nabayaran for so long. Kahapon nag-communicate siya, aayusin na raw niya. Sabi niya, thank you for helping me throughout the years, no? Tapos sabi ko, you are always my friend and my sister. Para bang yung relationship mo dun sa tao, nandun yun. Minsan hindi kayo nagkikita, minsan hindi kayo nagkakabatian. Pero yung feeling mo na ito yung isang tao, at one point in time,
Oo.
na there was a time nag-share kayo, there was a time nagka-relationship kayo in friendship, hindi yun mawawala.
Oh, kasi
Yun,
nga
hindi
soul to
mawawala.
soul eh. So
Plus,
spiritual yung relationship.
one has to understand that when you
goes
deal
beyond
with,
the time,
when you talk on
no?
goodness,
Mm-mm.
from the goodness of your heart, ang
Mm.
kasabihan.
Mm-mm.
Di ba?
Mm-mm.
So, ibig sabihin na, it goes beyond
Mm-mm.
just whatever you are sharing with one another, but actually the goodness of love, having a loving relationship. So this is something that we all are always longing for. We need to be loved. Yeah, we need to love and be loved.
Mm.
You know,
In the
And-
same way, we need to be happy. And, we also need to share happiness.
Right.
Okay.
We need to communicate.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sabi ni Rina May, maraming salamat sa pagpaalala ng tunay na kahulugan ng pag-ibig. Looking forward to hear more about wisdom.
And again, Nichu, greeting from Silang Cavite, and then Katrina Resurrection. Okay, good morning sa inyo.
San Mateo
San Mateo
Rizal.
Rizal.
Yes.
Yun din po.
Oo.
So again, you all come and give your comments, and again, sharing experiences with one another, And then such experiences just doesn't end on the show this morning.
Oh, yes.
It
Yeah.
goes further than
It
that.
goes
And
further
remember,
than that.
love is communication, communication is love. So let those you love know how much you love them. And those that you love, let them know how much you love them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so nice to hear and to get messages about,
Yes. Oo.
so it's a free thing we can do, you don't have to
Mm-mm.
spend for that, especially with texting now, it's so free to communicate to people, even short messages.
Just short messages, very important. Like a friend of mine whom I haven't seen for maybe 40 years, yesterday she texted me, "Oh, I just remembered your children are in New Zealand. How are they?" Kasi nagkaroon ng earthquake.
Naka-earthquake.
Imagine
Oo.
out of the blue, you hear from them
Mm-mm.
how they are caring so much.
Yes, such a nice um, gesture of concern.
Yeah, this is so natural for us. And when we do such action, we engage in this.
Mm-mm.
Di ba? The happiness that one can experience continues to grow in our heart.
Mm-mm.
So sa ating mga tagapakinig, maraming salamat po sa inyo. And then I hope we have shared such wisdoms na,
Yeah,
and
We hope we enrich your lives today with all this talk about how to love and be loved again.
and for us,
Uh-huh.
it is not something that we have experienced our hearts being touched by our Lord Jesus Christ, by the great saintly persons, by our spiritual teachers
Mm-mm.
that are there to guide us and provide us wisdom. So this is so important, and that we remember and we give thanks to this,
Yes.
because wisdom is not something na pagdadamutin natin.
Mm-mm.
It is something that we pass on and we share with one another. And if we live our lives as a model, become models of sharing this loving relationship that we experience from our heart, then our life is perfect.
Ayun, sinabi mo, Marisa, mag-communicate.
Oo.
Kaya si Har sabi niya, thank you, elders, more dose of wisdom every day. Love you all. Go
Yes.
Palakas.
And love you, Toby, Marisa Socorro from Myra Murialgo.
Oh.
We love you guys too.
Okay, you
Yes.
guys
Thank you
take
very
care
much.
and
Thank you. Love
Okay.
you.
okay, bye. You guys have a nice weekend, and always, again, make God the center of your life.
Yes.
It is through prayer and meditation, reading the scripture. This is something that we all need as people. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, go Palakas.